slogging through another political swamp, thick with nonsense and bad intentions. Let's cut through the poo-poo and throw a little light on the chaos before it buries us all. We don't care if you chew gum during the podcast, but no blowing bubbles. Alrighty then, without further ado, here's Nick and Bubbles. Steve. Holy moly. Take it away, gentlemen.
Take it away, we will, and welcome to another episode, compelling episode, mind you, of The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve, back at it again. Your midweek political review. What's up, y'all?
Sorry, I didn't mean to belch live.
I didn't even hear it.
Oh, good. I didn't do that. It was a sound effect someone played.
Good.
Anyways,
good.
Hi, world. We took Friday off. We're back. We're live, so if you're watching this currently on YouTube, go ahead, jump in the old comments section and get vocal. It's the name of the show. God damn it.
Crying out loud. That's why we built this bad boy over a couple of decades ago on the old lonely radio. As we approach the age of 50, here we are getting into the podcast game and getting a lot of support. Huh?
Are we back in our 40s? You said approaching 50.
Oh, yeah, I guess we are 50 now. I forget, dude.
Don't be in denial.
I was just on vacation, this past week. You knew that, with my family in Nebraska.
Yeah,
and,
how was that, being in a red state? I know Omaha's kind of the blue dot, though, in the red state, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it seems more and more like that. I got to say that this time around, the last time I was in Omaha was before Trump was elected, and it was all, there was a lot of Kamala stuff going on, but there was a lot of, Trump this, Trump that.
Sure.
And to be honest with you, dude, I mean, not that it's completely gone, but it seemed quieter. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. I mean, what you're saying literally makes sense, but it would seem to be indicative of what is happening in this country. A lot of the mega types aren't so proud anymore, and they're kind of either piping the fuck up or they're just actually, resigning the throne or giving up their membership into Team Dumbass there.
Yeah, the last time I was there, I mean, even though Biden wasn't in the race anymore, I still saw like a lot of "Let's go, Brandon," shit like that, and yeah, I didn't see any of that. I mean, even going over to my MAGA brothers' friends' houses, like in their garages, a lot of them had that F Biden stuff. I didn't see it.
Interesting. Here's somebody that says they're in Omaha. Are you seeing the same thing? Are people calming down? I mean, I'm in a red pocket of the state I'm in. Well, the whole state's red, really, but I'm in a particularly red corner. Yeah. And I've noticed less and less verboseness, outspokenness, people shutting up because they're actually embarrassed by what's happening. So that's, it's a good sign.
Yeah, I love that. I don't want it to be mistaken as like we can let off the throttle, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, it's good that we're seeing it, but we got to keep that pedal to the metal.
Oh, yeah. No, now's the time to double and triple down. Although I think we're going to start off with the topic today that might divide our audience a little bit, but this is a great opportunity for a little left-leaning discussion about where we're going with the party, how we can win the presidency. Because I think there's a huge difference in this current day and age as to how you win a national election like the presidency versus state senators, congressmen, governors, mayors, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a whole different game, right?
Yeah, no, it is for sure. And the last couple elections have proven that. 2016 ran a perfectly competent woman, should have won. 2024 ran a very, very competent woman and should have won. Yet we did not. And it has. You and I have been talking for a couple of years now. Like, why is that? Why can't we win a national election with somebody who is a very competent candidate?
Yeah, right. We've always said that, like, this next one, unfortunately, and please heed my words, unfortunately, can't be a gay man, can't be a woman. Like, America showed us that they're not going to vote that in.
I'm with you on the woman thing. I don't know if I've decided officially on the gay guy thing.
Okay. You think like a Pete Buttigieg could do it?
Listen, I have a lot of concern and trepidation about it. And I hate that I even have to say that.
Yes.
Because Pete Buttigieg is a rock star. He is a smart, competent, great debater, so articulate, can hang with any conservative, usually ends up humiliating them. Could he win a national election? I just don't freaking know, but it does set up the discussion that we would at least like to start off to today. And I see the comment section is getting quite vocal already, so that's a good indication.
It is. It's a hot button topic, and keep in mind when I say that shit, I mean, I that's not what I want. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. That's what America has shown us so far.
Right.
I also get that, like, if we would have said, like, America will never elect a black man as president, we would have never ran one. It never would have happened. So, like, I get it all, dude. It's you know, it's a touchy subject, and I don't know the right answer. I'm just talking about what we've seen thus far.
Yeah, no, it's all fair because we do need to win the national election. We need to win the presidency back.
Yeah,
I mean, we got to try to take all three, you know, the Congress, the Senate, the White House. But
yes,
but yeah, the next one, like the damage that is happening in this country, we've got to start to reverse it.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid the next president is just going to spend 4 years unnaming things and tearing down monuments and, you know, fixing every stupid thing that Trump is doing right now.
completely.
The next president is going to be Gavin Newsom, says somebody here. Possibly. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been saying Gavin Newsom, Mark Kelly, like there's a list, and Pete Buttigieg is on it. I am nervous about that though. But yeah, I mean, the question I guess we're getting to here is: do we go to the center, or do we go to the left, or do we go to the way far left as far as the presidency goes?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. We'll pick up with what we're going to get into today with Bill Maher. I mean, back in our younger days, Steve, Bill Maher is someone we looked up to quite a bit.
Yes.
You know, thought he was great. And in the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, we've seen him start to move further and further to the middle, which some people have followed. But then sometimes it seems like he goes righter than I would like to see him go. You know, he went and met with Trump and he sucked his balls and everything. And I was like, you know, what a nitwit. Then he kind of backed off that. And yeah, I guess it's hard to tell where he is.
He's, I often call him nowadays an on again, off again liberal. And I honestly think it started with COVID. Like a lot of people, he got locked in his house and seemed to go a little crazy. Because before COVID, he was not really leaning right at all. He's always been good at calling out liberals on some of our bubble bullshit.
Sure.
Which, you know, I think is fair and good. We need a little self-reflection, which MAGA does not have. But yeah, he's gone way too fucking far with it. And yeah, set it up. So he's got his own little, I mean, he's got his own show on HBO, obviously. But I don't know, a year or two ago or whatever, he started his own podcast.
Yes. Yeah, he had a podcast. What the hell is going on? Give me 1 second.
Nick stepping away for a moment.
Got some weird neighbor doing something that is getting through me.
can't
Okay, here's
hear
the deal.
it.
So he's got a little podcast that you know, I think it's called like Smoke Up or something like that. You know, he smokes pot and talks to people and drinks and everything else. So he had David Cross, the comedian, on the podcast. And they were having a nice back and forth, and then they got into a conversation that I thought, oh, that's curious, dude. I'd love to hear what our audience thinks about this.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
David Cross from, by the way.
Pardon me?
Where do you know David Cross from?
Just a comedian online.
Yeah. I did a story about him a couple of weeks ago, unrelated to what we're talking about today. And yeah, I was trying to figure out how to identify him. I recently have become an Arrested Development fan, and he was huge on that show. I remember him in Alvin and the Chipmunks when my kids were watching those movies. I think he was in Men in Black. But yeah, he's got a good stand-up career going too. And he's been anti-Trump for a while.
Yes.
I think his last comedy special, besides the newest one that's on YouTube right now, for free, by the way, the entire thing, was called something like Make America Great Again. And it was an anti-Trump thing. So
Okay. Let's just watch the clip. I don't know that it really needs a setup. We'll get into it.
People need to be
I
checked,
think they'll be
including your little girl.
okay.
She needs to be checked. I don't know what.
Fuck that bitch. Fuck that little bitch with her black friends and trans friends, and not even understanding. She
Trans?
doesn't know.
Wait, she has trans friends in third grade?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, they know they're trans in third grade.
I knew one of her friends. I knew when he was a girl.
How old?
I think just turned 9, and is just the coolest kid. I think they're
Boy
going
to
to be
girl, girl to boy,
girl to boy.
girl to boy. Okay.
And she has another very close friend who's not in this school, but who's boy to girl at 3.
But
At 3
girl
years
to
old.
boy, I mean, I knew somebody who said to me, actually more than one person who said to me, a woman said, I was what they called a tomboy. If I was alive now and acted the way I did then, that's what they would have done to me.
Oh,
Well, nobody's doing this to her.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Literally, nobody is doing this to
how
her.
old?
She is, or he is, either 8 or I think 9.
Okay,
Just
then
turned 9.
somebody is doing something because 8 or 9-year-olds can't.
No, you know what they're doing?
Can't
They're-
do anything on their
No,
own.
they're buying them boys' clothes.
Well,
and-
then they're doing something. They're doing.
Sure, yes, you're right. They're buying them boys' clothes.
And telling them you're a boy now.
No,
wait.
they're not telling them. They're just agreeing with. They're like going,
Well, they're
okay,
agreeing
honey.
with an 8-year-old because
Yeah,
when
that's
is their
right.
when has their judgment ever been off at 8?
You knew
Anyway,
you
okay.
weren't gay, right?
That's
It's not different.
it is different.
No, it isn't.
It's okay.
Nope.
Good luck with President Vance because, as I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost. And this is a case of that.
Wait, what?
We voted for the same person.
Right.
You're just why she lost.
they're both high.
Because America hears this, and they're going to go, Bill's right. 8-year-olds can't really make decisions on their own like this. That's what most people are going to say. And this is where the Democrats are, with David Cross living in Brooklyn, with Mandami Loving. And this is why, we're going to vote for J.D. Vance. And that's
I don't think
that's
it's
America in a nutshell.
I don't.
Doesn't mean I don't love you.
So it sets up the question, right? How left is too left is, I guess, what it basically breaks down to there,
Listen, and vocal minority people, feel free to start commenting, but he's right about some things and he's wrong about a lot of other things. My daughter came out as gay when she was like 11 or 12, and she would tell you that she knew for years that that's how she was.
Right.
I can remember very distinctly being in like first grade and just having this mystical attraction to girls. Didn't know why, just something was mystifying about them. Like, it took me years later to realize, like, sexuality is just sort of wired in. And the same with being potentially transgender or whatever else. My girlfriend works in an elementary school, and she tells me on more than one occasion, like, there are certain kids that you can just see it in. You
Sure.
can just see that they're going to be gay or trans or whatever it is. And no one's putting that into their brains. It's just how they're wired.
Yes.
Millions and millions and millions of human brains are created every year. And of course, they're all going to be wired slightly differently. That's what being gay and trans and straight is. It's just how your brain is wired. So would an 8 or 9-year-old know in the old days? Probably not. But with more information out there, may they start to feel that way and verbalize it? And may someone tell them that it's okay to feel that way? And if you want to wear boys' clothes, I'll buy you boys' clothes. Like, sure. But Bill also may be right that this is why rural Wisconsin, upstate Pennsylvania, like this is why we lost some things, because we're so eager to speak up for the downtrodden, for the discriminated against, whatnot. And some people, just like why Kamala and Hillary Clinton lost, like some people are not ready to embrace that. And it's why Trump always says transgender for all. He knows it scares the shit out of some of those people that we need to vote blue.
Yeah, and you got to think about that. When what he says doesn't even mean anything. Like, people just hear transgender and all, like, and that scares the shit out of them. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. It's funny, and oddly enough, I was having this conversation about, I was talking about your firstborn.
Yeah.
With somebody in Nebraska this past week here. And all of the conversation was basically like Bill Maher is saying. Like, I've heard a ton
They're
of times.
scared
like,
by it or what?
scared by it, of like, I don't mind if people are this. I don't mind if people are that. I just don't want it shoved down my face. And to which I always think to myself, like, who is shoving it down your face? Because
Right.
no one's shoving it down my face.
Well, I talked to somebody recently who, David Bromstad on like HGTV or whatever.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, he's one of the home improvement guys, and he started on one of those shows where they pick a winner, and he's gay. And he never talks about it, but you can tell he's gay. He's got the effeminate features, and it's attributes or whatever you want to call it. And
Yeah.
I think it has come up before, maybe on that contestant show. But anyways, this person I was talking to, they were saying that just watching him on TV is shoving it in my face because he's
Yes.
clearly gay. And why has he got a TV show? And I don't need it shoved in my face. I'm like, just him existing is shoving it
Yes.
in your face? Like, it'd be one thing if the entire show is advocating for gay rights or whatever. Not that that would be wrong, but just existing to some people is shoving
Well,
it in their face.
If we go back to the whole Target thing, when Target had a pride section in their stores, I mean, MAGA flipped over that and said, you know what, that's just pushing it down my throat. It's right in my face. I don't need to hear about it. They talk about like, why do you got to fly a pride flag? It's the same reason you fly a "Don't Tread on Me" flag or anything else, So they obviously do have a problem with it. It just makes them uncomfortable,
Yes.
and that's you know what, that's okay. I think if my dad were still alive, like I would have a conversation that I don't know this for a fact, but I think that he would maybe be uncomfortable with it. But I
Yeah.
think if he could have a conversation with me, someone he loved and respected and cared about, that I think I could push him away from that. It's just educating people on what it is, because
Yeah.
we have heard all this shit like transgender for everybody. Go to school a boy, come home a girl. Oops, no parents' approval. Stuff that's not true and just propaganda, talking
Right.
points.
Yes. Nate here. Mars 100% correct. Nate, as far as we're taking it too far to the left, or as far as like elementary kids going to possibly know what gender they are, blah, blah, blah. Because that's the question. Like, that's the part that Mars wrong about. The kids at that age could have any idea of what their own identity is. They absolutely can. Doesn't mean they all do. Doesn't mean that may not change over the years. But in the here and now, could they be correct? Yeah. But, I do think he's probably correct as far as we're taking it too far on the left on the national level if we want to win the White House.
Yeah, you know what?
Because of what you were just talking about, generational people that have not yet
Yes.
accepted it.
My mother is a great example. She needed to be talked to. She was never hateful about it, but she didn't understand it. So I've talked to her. I mean, that was a great point. Through COVID, I really talked to my mom because she wanted to understand it. She doesn't have a hateful heart, but
Right,
she didn't
yes.
get it. And throughout that conversation, she has become an advocate. I mean, she's become an advocate for people. So it is possible. But it made me think when I watched that, I was like, are we in a place in our country where in order to do something, we have to keep a little bit of us hidden, in order to get to a point of, okay, let's elect another Democrat.
We got to go step at a time. That's the problem. I think we're trying to hopscotch a little bit ahead of where maybe the entire country is at, which is why I say a mayor, a governor, a state congressman, senator, based on what state you're in, that could be completely fine. Being openly gay, being openly trans, like whatever it is, California will vote for that. Arkansas probably won't. But in a national election, Dems, the left-leaning types, we have to factor in what Alabama will vote for. Maybe not Alabama, deep red state, but the swing states, Nevada, where I'm at, Wisconsin, where I've got family at, Minnesota, Pennsylvania is a great example. Philadelphia will be fine with that. Upstate Pennsylvania, not fine with that.
So how do we uphold the values that we want to see sitting in that chair and not talk about it openly in those communities,
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, especially when the right's going to try to hang it around our necks like a noose with transgender for all. Like, no, it's just equality for all and due process for all. Like, I think we should zoom it out a little bit as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Paying for, transgendered surgeries for inmates. Like, you take one story that happens one time and say that that's what we want for everyone. Whereas, no, like if they're in the medical system in a prison and that's what's allowed and one person wants to do it, yeah, of course that's fine. But do we make it a mission statement? No. I think we got to broaden it.
Yes, I mean you're right. Those are part of the conversations I was having with this person in Nebraska. I was like, how come you want to talk so much about 1%? How come you want to talk so hatefully about 1%?
Makes them feel better.
It makes them feel, I guess so. I don't understand that. But, if you put it into terms of like, I don't know, I have MS, so that's probably like 2%, right? I don't know if that's the actual number, but it's very low like that.
Sure.
Like, do we just not talk about it because only 2% are affected by it or, are dealing with it?
Yeah, I think we just got to approach it slightly differently. We need a little more time on some of these issues. Think about what it meant to be gay when you and I were kids.
Yeah.
I mean, there was such a stigma to it. Yeah. And then, some people say this jokingly, but I take it very seriously. Like, honestly, Will and Grace, in the 90s, that mainstream sitcom mainstreamed being gay. And it became less, strange, and the mystique started to go away.
Yeah.
And it normalized it. And I have told my firstborn that now is the best time to be gay in the history of this planet. And it's just going to keep getting better. Because now, and this is why I hedge my bets on Pete Buttigieg, like, being gay is not the stigmatized thing it used to be.
Yeah.
Is it as gone as we would need it to be? I really don't know the fucking answer to that, but the stigmas drop way down. But trans people, I'm sorry, you guys are still on that stigma list where a lot of people are just freaked out by it and scared by it. And it's because it has not become more normalized and more mainstreamed. And as it does, just year after year, generation after generation, it won't be such a big deal.
When I was having that same conversation, obviously when we're having these conversations, or at least me, I draw off personal experience to try and bring some real life into the conversation or whatever. But I was talking about one of my trans friends, and the person I was talking to was just like, really? You know someone that's trans? I said, that's a great point. Like most people don't. So stop talking about it.
It's like gay people. As soon as you know one, all of a sudden it's not so weird.
Yes, exactly.
Like Dick Cheney. He was, against gay marriage and all that stuff. Then he realized, oh, shit, my daughter's gay. And then everything changed for him.
Yes. And Scott Bessent right now. Like, people aren't realizing that we have a gay man in the White House right now. So, just because they don't talk about it doesn't mean he's not gay.
Right. I mean, listen, if Pete Buttigieg does be our guy, I think that's just the line. Like, I thought you were don't tread on me, small government. What do you care what he's doing in his bedroom? But Lark here, Kamala did not lose because she's a woman. She lost because Biden was allowed to run, didn't give her enough time. I've heard the talking point. It's not the only reason she lost, but it cost her a couple of percentage points, just like it did with Hillary Clinton. And in this country, with our narrow national elections based on the, electoral college, like a couple points is all you need.
Yeah, it's not the only thing. There was a lot effed up about all of that.
And the way she had to run did not help, for sure. But no, it's more to it when a very qualified woman, because that's what I kept hearing. She's not qualified. Really? A lawyer, an attorney general, a senator, a vice president? Like, no, there's something else about her you don't like.
You know what? My thoughts are, it is time to normalize being transgender, but also that doesn't mean that a 3-year-old can have sex assignment, a reassignment surgery. Like, those things aren't happening right now. If you're buying boys' clothes for someone who was born as a girl, like, I knew plenty of people in growing up that were, would put a dress on. There's pictures of me with a dress on somewhere in my late teens, it's nothing different, and you're not buying into a delusion. And you know what? Your firstborn taught me a lot, because when they came out, they sat me down, right, and told me at a fairly young age, and I knew from the moment they were telling me that this is what was in their heart. Like, this is who they were.
Right.
And, you know, those things can happen at a young age. I love the point. Like, you knew you were gay, of course I did.
Yep.
It's just people make a big deal out of it because, I guess they're ignorant and scared.
No,
So,
for sure.
nothing
Chad
to be
here.
afraid
Should we
of.
worry about 2%? It's 6.8 million people. Like, yeah, I mean, listen, on certain topics, like, yes. I think your more point was like transgender in sports. Like, there's like 7 NCAA athletes that are transgender. Like, that's what we're talking about as far as it's a insignificant number that's blown into something that apparently we all need to worry about.
Thank you for
Transgender
clarifying.
taking over all the sports. Like, no, we're talking about a handful of athletes. Let the sports leagues determine it. But we've given this to be a weapon, to weaponize, like I said, rural Wisconsin, upstate Pennsylvania, like these areas that we do need. So, I guess my point here is people seem to mainly be agreeing. Like, I do think we need to check ourselves a little as far as trying to win the national election. We need to either have somebody a little more towards the center or that doesn't put some of these issues quite so front and forward. But then do support the Mondamis and the AOCs and the people in localized elections. The more of those we have, the more we can build that pyramid to the national election. We can't leapfrog too fucking far ahead because look what just happened.
Yes.
Trump
yes.
won, and we are in a shit show of a country right now.
And people making the comments, the people not voting got Trump elected. I mean, you're right. There were plenty of people who said, I will protest. I'm going to sit out on this one. And I guess didn't realize sitting it out is a vote for Trump. You dumb.
You vote for the winner by default.
Yeah.
Brody, too many ignorant, racist, sexist, and homophobic people still vote. They'll die off, but their children will still vote. Yeah, you're right. But each generation gets a little less racist, sexist, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I just think we need to be mindful of where we're at and not try to get too far ahead of ourselves. Bill Maher's wrong that children cannot know who they are. He's right, though, that maybe we got to dial it back a notch on the national front. So, I am all for a Newsom and a Mark Kelly and a Pete Buttigieg. Like, I just don't know if being gay is in that category anymore. I also don't know that I want to use this next election to test that theory.
Right.
There's a lot on the line. And Pete Buttigieg, by the way, like AOC, is young. Maybe now is not the time for you to be president. Obama famously said a few years ago he wished he had not run for president so young because he got out of the White House. He was in his early 50s and he's done.
Yeah.
So Buttigieg, AOC, Congress, Senate, cabinet member, like something, keep rising up the ranks and then go for the big job.
Yeah, we're not looking at voting in another 76-year-old. Like, we're not going to go that old, but like all of those people, like, I do believe they have a lot to offer us. But yeah, let's let them get a little older, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, listen, I'm excited about the primaries going on this year because a lot of Democrats don't still poll very well nationally, and that's because our party is a bit adrift. We don't have national leadership yet. And I think that the primaries are going to work that out. And for the love of God, everybody get out there and vote in the primaries. This is where you got to back the horse that you believe in. Yeah. If you want to go for the outsider or the mains or whatever, this is the time to do it. And then when it comes to the general, goddamn right you get in line. Vote blue no matter who.
Vote blue no matter who, and just vote for who's going in.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, so there you go.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. So yeah, maybe have it with someone because it could probably help someone out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we talk about? Should we just get the correspondence dinner shit out of the way and move on, or you got something better to get into?
We can go into the correspondence. I didn't pull. I think I have one video kind of talking about that, but the correspondence, excuse me, dinner. I don't know what to make of it, dude. I mean, okay, I'm going to be just honest and frank, okay? I have been seeing a lot of people talking with a lot of people who seem to say, like, you expect us to believe that shit. Yeah, that was scripted, obviously. And I've taken part in some of those conversations because I kind of feel that way at times. And I think it was Occupy Democrats today made a post about stop saying that, because we have so much shit that is actually happening right now, that we have factual proof that it's happening, and we need to be digging in on that shit instead of jumping on the MAGA train of conspiratorial theories without any fucking proof. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, my first thought when that happened, the shooting was Saturday night, although it's debatable if it was a shooting. We don't actually have any evidence that this guy pulled off any shots.
We were told that he fired and the vest protected the, Secret Service.
Yes, we were told by who.
Yes.
But there was a room full of journalists there, and no one has any actual proof that the guy pulled the trigger on anything, but whatever. My point is, I do find it to be very indicative of the nature of our country right now, that when you have a president that lies like he breathes constantly, that of course, even sane, rational people immediately question everything that goes on. They immediately question if it's legit or not. Right. And the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania during the election, boy, I mean, that certainly reeks of being staged, and more evidence has come out that it could have been. So I get that everyone sort of jumps to that, like, was it staged or not? I think it's interesting that even that discussion is being had, and that no one is surprised, though. But I am just sick of this immediate knee-jerk reaction to blaming the left. Oh, the left, you call us Nazis and fascists, and this is why it's happening. It's Jimmy Kimmel's fault, not the fucking, hateful rhetoric in chief that we have.
Yes.
It's not a mystery, people. It's science. Like, you turn the water temperature up, it's going to boil over. And Trump has done nothing but turn the temperature up. When you put your boot on the throat of millions of people, do you think maybe a few of them may punch back?
Yeah, you think?
So, not surprised. The Daily Beast editor, who was at the Correspondents' Dinner, wrote an interesting article yesterday saying that, I get anyone who thinks it was staged, like shots were fired, no one was hit, the guy sprinted into the building somehow, like Trump and everyone was laughing afterwards. Caroline Levitt talked about shots being fired. Her husband was saying to the reporter right before, like, things are going to go down. Like, I get it. But then his point was, like, if this was planned, what a shit show. Like, if it was planned, it would have been planned better than this. Like, so, and George Clooney came out today saying, like, people, calm down. Like, let's focus, like what you were saying, like, let's focus on real things, not whether this, that, or the other thing was a fake conspiracy or not. Like, we got real problems, eyes forward,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, it could be a possibility. Can you talk about it, with your friends? Like, yeah, go for it, dude. But yes, we do have real things that we have to, frickin' talk about right now and hold this administration accountable for that shit.
Yeah. And I did a video yesterday on the topic where I basically just yelled at the camera for 10 minutes because I'm so sick of being blamed. Caroline Levitt sat up there and was like, Jimmy Kimmel and celebrities and political commentators online with their liberal talking points. I'm just sitting here like, fuck you. Like, stop acting like fascist if you don't want me to call it out. Like, God forbid I be able to criticize somebody who's doing horrid things in this country. And speaking of Gavin Newsom, he eviscerated Katie Miller late yesterday. She went on Laura Ingram's show and said, it's no mistake this man hailed from the state of California, and that of Gavin Newsom, who is one of the worst offenders of this violent political rhetoric that sparked this man's imagination.
Bullshit.
Bullshit, obviously. Just like saying Jimmy Kimmel sparked it by making a joke the night before when the guy was already in D.C., heavily armed, blah, blah, blah. But Newsom responded, what an absurd statement. Political violence is never acceptable, period. What Cole Allen did was reprehensible, and we're grateful the president was uninjured. The finger pointing for people like Katie, who haven't just tolerated but amplified Trump's dangerous rhetoric, is offensive. Yeah. And that's the part that pisses me off. If you're going to say the left is saying, hateful things, you better at least fucking own that you are supporting the hateful commander-in-chief. Trump is the most hated and hateful president we have ever had.
Yes, on a daily basis.
Yeah. So,
and you're supporting him. I do have a new Lego video that it just kind of goes through what happened that night. If you want to see it.
Okay, I would like to see it. Yes.
Okay.
Hilton Hotel. Hotel, April 25. What but wish she ate dinner, everyone's alive. Correction, almost everyone had a smooth night till a man from Torrance showed up ready to fight. Cole Thomas Allen, 31 degree in hand, mechanical engineer with a very different plan. Shotgun, handgun, couple knives in a bag, walked up to the checkpoint. That's a bold drag. Secret Service clocked him before he could blink. Now he's getting processed. What you think? Butler, Pennsylvania. 1. Golf course in Florida. 2. Correspondence dinner. 3. Bruh, how many times we gonna do this thing? Third time. Yeah. Third time ain't a charm when the agents are fine. Twitter said it's staged, Reddit went insane. Every conspiracy theory's blowing up my brain. Third time. Melania grabbed his hand, he said, I'm fine. They evacuate fast, the crowd screams, wait. Someone grabbed the champagne, prioritize great show. Was it staged? Was it fake? Was Caroline leave it in on it? Give me a break, she said, shots fired as a joke on TV, then actual shots fired. Coincidence, maybe? Was it Russia, deep state, a Hungarian plot? Or just a lonely engineer who got real hot? FBI says lone wolf, no conspiracy found, but Twitter's got 17 theories going round and round. Chill, it's all on camera, bro. Background check clean, political woe, the real crime. When the evac alarm rang, journalists grabbed champagne before they ran. Yay, that's the headline. Nobody asked for political chaos and a full open bar.
It's pretty interesting, dude. Like some of that stuff, you think about it, like, oh, they did grab the champagne, and we saw some other shit. Here's a video of just a moment of chaos. This is why I hate you, Trumper, so much.
USA! USA! USA!
What the fuck does USA have to do with this, dude?
It's like the Butler, Pennsylvania shooting. They were trying to make some staged moment out of you. Well, everyone, let's chant. You're chanting to a room full of journalists. That was not a mega crowd.
No.
That's not one of his rallies.
That is unbelievable, dude.
And by the way, it's not the third assassination attempt. It's more than that.
What do you mean?
It's definitely more than that. There was a story during the first election where a guy showed up to a rally, I believe it was in Vegas, tried to wrestle a gun away from a cop at Trump's rally while he was speaking, admitted that, yeah, I was going to take your gun and shoot Trump. There was a guy in Southern California during the last election that was arrested showing up to a rally with a car full of guns and fake passports. What was he going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, there have been more attempts than just the three mainstream ones we keep talking about. And what does that tell you? Is there anyone else in the history of this country that has ever had that many assassination attempts?
I'll tell you, dude.
At what point do you think maybe it's me?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what Trump thinks it is, okay? Or I'll let Trump tell you what he thinks it is, okay?
Okay.
He's going to, just a little warning, he's going to use some math and percentages in here, so don't get confused.
Oh, and by the way, there was a guy arrested like 3 weeks ago with an assault rifle outside of one of his golf courses. It was like a Joker gun, all painted up colors. Like, there's been more than 3. Okay,
Been more than 3. All right, those are the 3 biggies, I guess, yeah?
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's Trump on why so many people are trying to murder him.
You know, I'm here. It's a dangerous profession. You know, I tell the story, race car drivers, I think it's very dangerous. So you take 1% and then take about 10% of 1%, just to break it down very easily, they die. So much less than 1%, 10% of 1%. I think bull riding is very dangerous. If you take about the same 10% of 1%, much less than 1%, but if you take presidents, it's 5.8%.
Oh my God.
And about 8% are shot at. So,
Wow.
So
Wow.
there.
I haven't seen that clip. First of all, I love the faces behind him of them. It's
Totally.
like, oh God, what is he talking about? 1% of 10%, and then take 0.08%, and then that equals 8% of president. Like,
Yeah.
do you think he, even in his rattled, dementia-riddled brain, knows
on.
what he was trying to say?
No. And I was talking with you earlier today, telling you a little bit about this video, and you were saying that somebody tried to, RFK, didn't RFK come in and be like, Trump thinks of percentages differently? Like,
Yes.
dude, you're not allowed to do that.
Looks at percentages differently. If a price goes up 900% and then drops by the same dollar amount, isn't that going down 900%? Like, no, it's not, because that's not how math works. But
Yeah.
Apparently, in his brain, it is. So math is not philosophical.
Completely crazy. Here's one question. Fox News and Friends had Kash Patel live on the air. They asked him a question. I thought it was actually kind of a fair question, but Kash Patel just gave a little bit of word salad, and I don't feel like ever really answered their question.
Jason Pack in the Wall Street Journal today, former FBI agent, offered this. They said that the Secret Service built a perimeter to stop an army, but they were beat by a room key because the guy checked in the day before and he wasn't shouldn't have been part of the whole event. What do you say to that?
Again, it's one of those details that we will provide to you extensively in relation to where he was staying, what was found inside where he was staying, and any other materials that were collected, to include laptops and cell phones. But this was a matter that needs to be heavily scrutinized because it almost took the lives of dozens, if not hundreds of people, but for the quick reaction of our law enforcement. And we're going to be talking about how we improve the security, not just for this event, but for all events going forward. We're going to learn from this one, and we're going to utilize President Trump's leadership and backing of the Blue and law enforcement and work with DHS to ensure our cabinet, our protectees, and the American civilian population is as best protected as possible.
Thanks for thinking of us.
Yeah.
You know, like
Back
I
in the
keep
blue,
seeing
didn't
Trump,
you
like,
just pardon a bunch of rioters that beat the shit out of cops?
Yes, that's right. He did. And I keep seeing Trump, talk about this is why we need the ballroom. We got to get a bulletproof ballroom. And I think, okay, ballroom Betty, what about all of us? Like, what about our children going to school and being murdered? Like, let's talk about the actual issue.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love that there's a shooting with him, and immediately he's got ideas and solutions and things that need to happen, but it happens at a school or a church, and just, hey, this is every day in America. What are you going to do? And fucking Kash Patel there, who is apparently one of the top cops in our country, really leapt into action when it was in harm's way. Like, he cowered like a little whiny brat. Instead of being an FBI agent, because obviously he's not.
He didn't have his coat, dude. He needs that coat to really jump into action. But there was a lot of absolute pussies with Stephen Miller standing behind his wife. And, there was a lot of shit going on there.
Yes. And, immediate finger pointing happening. I highlighted the other day the fact that Bruce Springsteen the next day on stage called for, no political violence. We don't accept that. That's not the point here. We want to fight at the ballot box, not, with bullets and fists and all that kind of crap. And Gavin Newsom making a very sane statement. Obama made a very sane statement. And even AOC, who I say even AOC because she's, one of the hated mega types, hated by the mega types out there. This is funny. This just shows you can't ever do anything right in the mind of mega, because AOC came out on, I believe it was Sunday, and said that there's no place for political violence in this country. I'm relieved that the president and the attendees of the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night are safe. So she did this on Sunday. Perfectly reasonable statement, just like Newsom and the others, but mega freaked out on AOC for being reasonable. One person commented, there's a special place in hell for demons like you. At least have the decency to shut the hell up and sit this one out.
Right.
As we're calling to take the political rhetoric down in this country, you're calling her a demon. Someone else said, actually, this is your fault. So please go fuck right off with all your other commie losers. Way to take the rhetoric down a notch, mega. Yeah. Or someone said, you Democrats created this environment with all of your bullshit rhetoric. No, everything we have done is a reaction, not an action. And don't ever forget that.
Yes, please.
We didn't start this shit show. We're just commenting on it and fighting back against it.
We didn't start the fire, dude.
Right. Calling it what it is. So, you can't do anything right in their minds, which is why I say you generally got to just ignore these people.
This was a funny one, dude. RFK Jr. was whisked away by several Secret Service, and his wife Cheryl was left to the dust to defend herself. That's completely true. Yeah.
And I know that the agents would grab you, but I, in that moment, would certainly be like, my wife, yes. I'm not leaving without her, grab her. What are you come on.
Yeah. Or, what, even if they would have grabbed you, you would have already been holding Kennedy. Your girl, that's crazy, dude.
It's confusing when we're talking about RFK to refer to my girlfriend as Kennedy, but yes.
But she is. So.
It's a small world, but no, of course. So, Yeah, I don't know. That's about all I have to say on the correspondence dinner, because I don't know what else to say other than, don't start none, won't be none. I'm not surprised. I'm actually surprised it doesn't happen on a daily basis.
Yeah. I don't know. Have we seen the last of this? I for some reason, I don't think so. Not that I'm, rooting for it, but.
And what was that guy's plan, by the way? He thought he was on a different floor from Trump.
Yeah.
So his plan was to sprint by security, run up the stairs, get through the entrance of the ballroom, get through the crowd, get to the stage. Like,
yeah,
the fuck was your plan?
I think so. I don't know. I mean, I saw a clip of a lot of journalists that were there that were sitting around before this happened, and they were talking about how lax security was. They were like, not checking IDs, just showing a screenshot of an invite, that kind of shit. So. Yeah. Who knows?
Maybe don't hold these events at a hotel. Like, it's not an excuse for a ballroom, but we have other facilities.
But you could have had it in that thing you fucking tore down. It could have happened in there. So.
I've gone to concerts with better security than what that was described as.
And I don't understand, for that hotel, why couldn't the government? I mean, you guys are blowing money like whores and cocaine. Like, why didn't you say, I want the hotel empty? We're having this event. So
yes. For sure.
While we're talking about Kennedy, let me show you some footage as a pair of congressional hearings took place, where Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was questioned by senators and representatives about health policy, drug pricing, vaccines, budget cuts, all that stuff. I thought there were a couple of great senators who took him down. So I thought, let's play these and we can see how well he was dissected. Here's the first clip. Kennedy takedown.
Admit today, you said every black kid can get reparented on a wellness farm. Can you admit that you said that?
Can get reparented on a wellness farm?
Well, let me read exactly what you said. You said every black kid is now just standard, put on Adderall, on SSRIs, benzos, which are known to induce violence, and those kids are going to have a chance to go somewhere and get reparented, to live in a community where there'll be no cell phones, no screens. You claimed, in fact, you went on to say, actually the whole transcript was even worse. You said that if you could, you would send, quote, every black kid, again, your words, not mine, to go live on farms and work. Is that your?
I would have to hear that recording, because
well, I have the recording.
I have no memory of saying anything like that.
Yeah, well, I actually have the recording that I can give to you, but it is absolutely what you said. And if you want me to play it, I can play it.
But if you ask me what my opinion is, I do not believe that every black kid should be reparented on a wellness farm or whatever, and I have never believed that.
Well, you said it, sir. I have the video here. In fact,
I'm telling you, I don't believe it. That's not my vision for our country.
Well, I'm glad, because it was ignorant to say, it was dangerous, and it was irresponsible.
Well, if I said it, I apologize, but I'd have to see the transcript.
You said it, idiot.
Yes, you said it. You think she's up there just blowing smoke? Like, You said it, dude, and that's the problem with these people. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, when you're sitting in front of an audience, whether that's in a courtroom or in front of Congress, where you have to prove things that you say, suddenly you didn't say them anymore. I don't remember saying that. I misspoke.
I really hope the mega types hear that, because you're being manipulated and lied to. All these people think they're entertainers when they go on podcasts and talk shows, and they just say whatever bullshit they think is going to get you all whipped up to vote for them. But yeah, like you just said, as soon as you're under oath, being, either in a courtroom or testifying in front of Congress, all of a sudden then it's different.
Yes. Anytime there's accountability involved here. Here's Maggie Hassan. This senator also dissects RFK pretty nicely, did. Let me see here.
These high grocery prices make it easier or harder for families to eat fresh, healthy foods?
I would say that beef has dropped by 1% in the last quarter.
I know, look, beef prices are up 20%. Banana prices are up nearly 7% since President Trump took office. Cheese prices are up 6%. So again, when groceries get more expensive, easier or harder for families to afford the very healthy foods that you want them to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's only, you can eat beef, you can eat poultry, you can eat fish, and the price of beef is dictated by the size of the herd. The herd dropped the
If
lowest.
it's, look, you're not answering, but obviously if the food is
You're
more
blaming
expensive.
President Trump for something that he didn't do.
Well, let's take a look at this image. Did you post this image in 2024 about grocery prices being too high?
I don't recall.
Well, you did post it. That's your handle up there, and and I agree that grocery prices were too high in 2024. But under President Trump, they have skyrocketed even further. So now let's go to an updated version of this post. Will you post this? The most expensive vehicle.
No, because President Trump actually brought down grocery costs for most of his term. I think there's been a raise recently in the price of everything.
Look, families are facing historic prices at the register. You don't need to be a Secretary of Health and Human Services to know that. You don't need to be a United States Senator to know that. The people in New Hampshire, the people across this country know that because they go to grocery stores today. And the fact that you either don't know it or you don't want to admit it just shows how out of touch you and the Trump administration are. Now let's go to another issue.
All these people are out of touch, dude.
Of
Trump,
course.
it's an old-fashioned term called grocery store. Like all these people are out of touch. Well, what's a corner store? Like you guys do not belong here.
No. And listen, maybe beef did drop 1%, but it's still up 19% or up 25%. This is like the time you and I interviewed a gambler who was like, I won $100,000 last year gambling.
Yes.
And I was like, how much did you lose last year? He's like, 200,000. I'm like, well, wait a minute. So, like, it doesn't really work that way. So beef is down 1%, but it's up 38% or whatever. Like, they believe what they want to believe. And on that topic real quick, let me just interject this article I found that has gotten like zero attention. And I find it so indicative of everything going on in MAGA world. President Donald Trump, as an adult, thought that professional wrestling was real.
Hold on a minute, because I know that he's friends with McMahon, and he's actually been on wrestling. Did he think it was real when he went to that?
So here's the thing. President Donald Trump apparently believed that professional wrestling matches were completely organic events and nearly fell out of his seat watching one in disbelief. This is from a article in the New Yorker. The revelation came as part of a deeper dive into how wrestling mogul Linda McMahon, now the head of Trump's Department of Education, approached her position and the influence she has over the administration. Quote, when Donald Trump was a kid, his favorite wrestler was Antonio Rocca, though Trump called him Rocky Antonio. And when classmates tried to correct him, he insisted that he was right, of course. One can see why wrestling appealed to him. The crowd is everything. The rules mean nothing, and the referees are feckless, and they often get knocked out, and everyone laughs. Now, that's him as a kid. But in the late 80s, Trump hosted WrestleMania, well, 2 of them, at the Trump Plaza in Atlantic City. And the article says, quote, the shows bombed, but Trump enjoyed himself. The wrestler, Bret the Hitman Hart, remembered that Trump almost fell out of his chair when Hart appeared to get cracked in the face with a metal turnbuckle. Hart said, quote, he believed it. He could not believe that I didn't get killed. And Bret Hart was the one that explained to him that, this is all staged, right? Like, this is theater.
Unreal.
That was Trump as an adult, late 80s.
Yeah.
Still believed that wrestling was real.
It's crazy, dude, because so much of what he's pulled from is maybe when he found that out, he was like, oh, I can make this production look real.
Well, it does speak to that, right?
Yes.
What the person said. The refs are a joke. The audience loves when you break the rules. The bad guys are often more, favored than the heroes.
Yeah.
But seriously, I liked professional wrestling when I was in like 6th grade and moved on from it then. But even then, I knew it was not real.
I still have some people in my life that are close to my age that love professional wrestling. But of course they know it's not real. They just love the entertainment of it. And that's all right to look at it that way. But man,
I love comic book movies, but of course I understand they're not real.
You do.
still find them entertaining. But yes, just like I don't believe anyone ever walked on water or turned water into wine or talked to a burning bush. Like, I don't think any of these fairy tale things were ever real, just for the record.
You're ahead of the pack, Steve. How about some of the crazy stuff going on right now in our country that we're not really talking about? Let's talk a little bit about scientists and what they do for our country and how important they are. And also, we'll bring the topic of AI into the conversation. Watch this video. We'll discuss.
Yesterday, President Trump fired all 24 members of the National Science Board. The National Science Foundation is a federal agency that gives grants to all scientific research in America. It's where the most foundational AI research happens at schools like Stanford, MIT, Carnegie Mellon, and Berkeley. And the National Science Board is the body that's supposed to oversee it. It has 24 scientists with 6-year terms, so the agency stays non-political. But yesterday afternoon, every board member got the same email from the White House. In it, it basically said they were terminated. That was it. There was no reason given, and there was no transition plan. And here's the context that matters for this. Earlier this week, Trump also fired the head of the Center for AI Standards because his previous employer was Anthropic. And last week, the Department of Justice joined XAI in suing Colorado for AI discrimination. The pattern is clear. The US government is changing who's controlling AI, and the people who used to provide independent oversight are being removed. For 76 years, the NSF was independent of politics. That's how American science was able to keep its lead over every other country on Earth. But yesterday, that ended. The next great leap in American AI was supposed to come out of a university lab somewhere. But the people who decide which labs get funded just got fired.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
We got a major brain drain going on in this country, and science equals facts, and Trump does not want facts. He doesn't want to be fact-checked. He doesn't want to have to deal with climate change or the harm that is caused by loosening EPA restrictions and all that kind of stuff. So he doesn't care about that. And Michael here just brought up a good point. 14 missing scientists, what the fuck? I don't know if it's 14. I thought it was like 11. But either way, you and I talked about this story 2 weeks ago. And Trump promised in a week and a half, we're going to have answers on these missing scientists.
We're going to know what's going on.
Right. Did I miss the update? Do we know what's going on?
I haven't heard anything about it, although he did just fire, all of these scientists. So, I think we got our answer without him actually talking about it. He's getting rid of scientists, dude. A scientist that won't agree with him, and especially when we go in, as these firings coincide with a push to refocus NSF resources on AI. I mean, that's a real scary thing, dude. We've already got a conversation in this country going on about, we need to slow this AI down and take a breath and figure out restrictions and how we can continue to do this safely with a man who is 80 years old and won't have to see the results of all of this. He doesn't give an F. All he wants to do is fill his pocketbooks.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a grift. He's got, money invested. And quite frankly, somebody has probably explained to him that our economy right now is being artificially propped up by the AI bubble. There's so much money being put into AI, which is, potentially a mixed blessing or whatever. But that's what's propping up the stock market and inflation rate, all that stuff, gross domestic product, everything. So he wants to be as friendly to AI as possible because you're right. He doesn't give a shit. By the time the robots take over, he will be long dead and gone. So.
And he'll have his bunker, dude. So his kids and everyone else can go down in the bunker and just chill.
Right. Yeah. No.
Yep, it's really scary, dude. Let's talk about wormhole, Steve, while we've still got a little time on the podcast.
Wormholes?
No, wormhole.
A wormhole.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I time travel with a wormhole?
I don't know. Let me just play the clip and then we can discuss exactly what this is. I mean, the audio is somewhat astounding. This is Melissa Isaac, who was recently hired as a Trump administration immigration judge. And this is what she had to say recently.
And really what she taught me was there's two types of women. There are good, solid, valuable women who are major assets to men if you're a good woman. And then there's a warm, wet hole.
Yep.
Yeah,
that is a newly appointed federal immigration judge. And by the way, I love the flawed logic there. Both of those scenarios she just said, a woman is either an asset to her man or she's a warm, wet hole. Both of those are your relation to a man.
Yes.
That's a woman's value in her brain.
Yes.
If it's not tied to a man somehow, then you just have no value, apparently, because you're either a warm, wet hole or you're there to prop your man up. And this is somebody in charge of making judgments on other people and making decisions that will affect their lives.
Yes.
And by the way, she's one of these lawyers that's like, men always taken advantage of in divorce court. Like, she's this men's rights sort of lawyer.
She's a grifter.
Yeah. And further in that clip, she talks about the fact that I'm raising a boy right now, and I'm raising him to be a man.
Yeah,
but
one
her
that date
definition of
rapes
a
and
man
does other, brutal things. I want my son to date rape because you can't rape the willing.
Right. Her definition of what a man is what is wrong with everything in this country. Masculinity is fine, but there is such a thing as toxic masculinity, and no, it's not fine. And it's that sort of bullshit. So, yeah, she thinks you're either an asset to your man or you're just a warm, wet hole.
Yeah. Well, good thing she's not raising a daughter, I guess.
Right. Good thing she's not in a position of authority. Oh, wait, she is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, put it on the list of things we're going to have to correct. Because I didn't realize this until I'm literally doing a whole story on that entire thing. I got a whole bunch more context. It'll be posted at some point this fine day on Really American. But yeah, I mean, she goes on to all sorts of things. She defended Roy Moore, the guy from Alabama that was accused of molesting children. She defended January 6th rioters. And she has no background in immigration law whatsoever. But yeah, immigration judges are part of the Department of Justice. So they do not have to be elected or appointed or anything. They're a federal employee. So Trump has fired well over 100 of these judges and is just replacing them with sycophantic zombies that will simply not allow anybody to have amnesty or, legal migration.
So many of these people, with my wife being an attorney, like I get to see the insides of practicing law. And so many of these people, when they're going for confirmation, whether it's Amy Coney Barrett or others, they're like, oh, have you ever taken a deposition? Oh, not all by myself. Like, that's basic first year, law stuff after you get hired. Like, you haven't taken a deposition, dude, and you're going to sit in the Supreme Court?
Right. And let me just show you one other example of what a moron this woman is. Let me see. Can you see this picture right now?
Yes.
That arrow is pointing at the cardboard insert that is still inside of her hat.
She didn't take it out. Yeah.
That's the shipping insert so that the hat retains its shape. She's still wearing it. You're supposed to take that off.
It's crazy, dude. I thought it was a maxi pad for sweat retention.
This is the kind of genius level stuff we got going on.
Yes.
That she doesn't even understand.
Yeah.
Take it out.
We're all fried, dude. Let's be honest. We're all cooked. That's why you got to keep getting vocal, dude. I mean, we're making a difference. Hey, every week people go to our website after this podcast and they tell us quite frequently, like, keep getting vocal. You make me want to get up and get vocal. I'm talking to my friends. I'm talking to people in my town. Like, that's grassroots shit, dude, and we got to keep doing it. So we appreciate everyone who is.
Yeah. If you want to contact us directly, go to thevocalminority.net. And someone emailed us this week about their love of Dave Matthews because they always see you wearing a shirt. And someone in the comments earlier commented like, yo, Nick, like, love DMV too. So.
Oh, that's funny, man. Yeah, no, I love the DMV love, dude, for sure.
So yeah, you can go to our website if you want to contact us directly. But yeah, do keep getting vocal because that is our best weapon against the narcissist in chief right now. And we just have to keep the pressure on because we are, as of now, walking into an electoral landslide in November, but only if we keep this momentum going, only if we don't let people forget, because the attention span of this country is nothing.
Yeah.
So keep reminding, keep sharing, keep getting vocal. It's the whole fucking idea here.
Pedal to the metal. And keep in mind, dude, if we can ask you just one more favor, well, we know maybe you're watching the show live right now, but this is available on all the podcast platforms. If you can go download that podcast, it helps us a lot to be able to continue to share information and stuff like that. So we appreciate it a whole bunch.
Absolutely. And like and share all the content here on Really American, by the way. We've got some new hosts coming on, your regular favorites. We got the long form shows and all that. So support it all. Because as this plaque right here says, where is it? Oh, we're over 1 million subscribers now.
Yes.
So we're in the big leagues now. So support all of this stuff.
Appreciate that. All right, guys, gals, and our non-binary pals. We'll see you Friday. We bid you adieu.
And that'll do it for another edition of The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Thanks for joining us on the Really American Media platform. Check out all our social media wherever good social media is found. Until next time, you tiny little bastards, good day.
Good day.